rainy Saturday here in Virginia. We're a week away from going on trip number 4 to Panama, and I decided to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the trip this time by bringing not true bass tackle, but 3 travel rods, 2 made for multi-species angling, 1 made specifically for swim baits, some larger Calcutta and Tranx Shimano reels, and also what I call bass lures. Now, they're not really bass lures, but they're things that I think could be used for my typical freshwater applications, yet also might appeal to a tuna or a roosterfish or a cubera. And we have limited space to pack, and I appreciate all of you who sent your suggestions based on my past articles. To be quite honest, I was just negligent in not getting back to you. I really should have responded to some of you just to find out what you'd suggest, because I know many of you are more experienced than I am. But here's my packing list, and it's kind of odd. Now, I thought through this, and I kind of weeded out certain lures that I wanted to bring that I thought might work in a feeding frenzy, simply because these fish are so much stronger than anything we've ever caught. Stronger than redfish, stronger than peacock bass. And I was afraid that anything with weak hooks, weak split rings, or too many joints would fall apart. So that's why the Shimano Gantarel that I thought I was going to bring, too many joints. I mean, even if I replaced this with 4X trebles, I think the potential for heartbreak was going to be there. And for that same reason, I know a lot of you saltwater guys fish Subwalk Magic Swimmers. This is Storm's version of it. They called it the Kick and Stick. I think it's no longer made, but you might want to try a Subwalk Magic Swimmer. Some other companies make similar lures, the Spro Sashimi. Again, 2 joints. I just figured I was going to end up coming back with the head of the bait and my fish swimming around with the last 2 joints. So those are things that I weeded out. But now I'm going to go through the things that I actually decided to pack. And please drop a comment below if you think you have ideas about this. It's probably too late for this trip, but for future trips, I'm all ears when it comes to your suggestions. Obviously, topwater is the big deal in Panama. You go there, Captain Shane has the big Yozuri poppers, and they work magic on those tuna. I wanted to bring some topwaters of my own, just to see if I could make them work down there. So the first one I picked out, Black Dog Lures Lunker Punker. This is a bait that I've taken to the Amazon, I've taken to El Salto, I've gotten some strikes on it, but it's a lot of work. For bass, all day to work this is kind of a beast. For tuna, I think it's the right deal. I think if I can get some to notice it in those bait balls, this is something they might explode on. Has high-end split rings, has real high-quality hooks. Not sure about this split ring on the front, though. I might take that one off and tie it direct. Second bait I have here is the Ima Big Stik. This is a pencil popper style topwater. Obviously, it's a striper lure. People use it for a lot. People also use it for largemouths out west. They use smaller ones on the blueback herring lakes. Makes a lot of noise, got a big old rattle in it. I think that's going to be good. And this is sort of in my all-around whenever I've thrown topwater for multi-species. White with a red head, saltwater super spook. I've used it for redfish, I've used it for peacock bass, I've used it for wolffish. I don't know if this one is big enough to catch the attention of a tuna, but I'm going to give it a try, especially if they're feeding on smaller bait. This might be the choice. The obvious advantage of these other lures is that I can cast them much further. Next up, I want to talk about what you might consider some all-purpose saltwater lures. I have this one. This is kind of falling outside of the bass realm. This is the Shimano Orca Flash Boost. This is made for saltwater species, as you can see. Has really high-end hooks. It also has, you might be able to see that flash boost technology that attracts fish from a long way, makes it highly visible, which could be key. It's also something that I'm going to be able to throw on a swim bait rod. These are the larger 6-inch versions of the Rapala Subwalk. We've thrown the small ones for peacock bass. In fact, on one trip, it was by far our best lure for peacock bass, including some really big ones. I think these bigger lures might be a little bit more visible, might be a little more attractive to tuna and roosters and cuberas. Can never go anywhere without some traditional minnow-style baits. This is another one by Rapala, super heavy, long casting lure. As you can see, I've replaced the original trebles with 4Xs. Something I'll be able to throw a mile. It will get down, it'll stay down in the bigger waves, and obviously it's a universal bait fish shape, so they should eat it. Also decided to finally experiment with these. I had caught some fish on them on my last wolffish trip south of Manaus, Brazil. These are the Duo Realis Fang Ops lures. I don't know how a deeper diving bill will do on this trip, whether we'll have the time or ability to crank down, and indeed whether the fish are going to be down in those rocks and whether these lures will get snagged. But these are built for the toothiest critters around. I figure no better place to test them than in Panama. While I was packing, I dug into my peacock bass box. It was a place I hadn't looked in quite a while. I haven't been to Brazil since 2019. I found 2 lures that I bought at the Sucuri Pesca store there in Manaus. One, this is called the Deconto Biruta. You can see it has a little weight on the chin. It's a Brazilian twitch bait, subsurface bait, kind of like that Rapala Subwalk. I believe Biruta means windsock, and indeed this one kind of catches currents and moves back and forth with the wind. And this is a classic lure. This is in the style of the Borboleta by Perversa lures. It's another Brazilian twitch bait made with heavy duty hardware to withstand everything down there that has a lot of teeth and a lot of pulling power. And finally, because they're small, I felt I could throw in a few true bass size baits. This one is a chug bug. This is the Rattlin saltwater chug bug, so it has upgraded hooks. And these are those two Rapala Subwalks that I mentioned earlier. This was a fantastic lure for peacock bass. I don't know that I'll have the opportunity or desire to throw something comparatively small like this when we're out on the boat chasing bigger fish, but I might get a little itchy at night and go around the island and just walk the bank or walk the rock areas and make some casts and see what I can dredge up. There's snapper around there, there's various kinds of grouper and all sorts of fish that I've never heard of. So I'm going to give it a try. I'll report back after the trip. Again, drop comments down. We're going back in January. If anyone wants to go, shoot us an email at fishmore@halfpastfirstcast.com and let us know what lures I missed out on. I'll be sure to make a bigger and better order for next time around.